Oh, hey there, it's Laurie, Lynnsee, and this is today's Love and Light message from Spirit. Today's Wednesday, April 22nd, 2025. How are you doing today? I've already been up and going. I had a dentist appointment this morning, and the challenges of the teeth keep happening. I never had like a cavity or a filling until menopause. Because they do such a great job of sealing our teeth. I'm part of that Gen X crew that had their teeth painted or whatever they did back in the day. Yeah. And now that menopause, it's just it's not just night sweats anymore, ladies. It's your teeth, it's your gums. So, I have to do all these special things. And here's the latest. Prescription toothpaste. At $25. Well, there's two tubes, so it's not that. It's not $550 pair of socks. Let's put it that way. So, yeah. So how are you doing this morning? God, there's so much craziness going on that I don't even know what to talk about today. What I have been following very closely is that whole Duggar thing. Oh my gosh. And I am so into like cult documentaries. You ask me about a cult out there, and I probably have watched a documentary on it. And true crime. I'm into true crime, and you would think, Laurie, you're into spiritualism. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think because I was such a devout Catholic and I tried to do everything. I mean, I was a rosary sayer. Let's just put it that way. I was in the Legion of Mary. And not only was in the Legion of Mary, I was the president of the Legion of Mary. And you know what? I will always have an affinity for Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Mary Magdalene. Because who are we really praying to? And we're actually talking to them. But I was disappointed. I just feel like religion is, I don't know. It's, I had a priest. This is during one of my big awakenings, and I left the Catholic Church. Now, I've had awakenings since I was a child. But I felt like I should still toe the line and be a good Catholic, even though I was spiritual and doing and receiving messages and having spirit guides and all that kind of stuff. Okay, Laurie, Lynnsee, where are you going with this? Oh, yeah. I think when I was a principal, and I was a principal at a Catholic school, I was experiencing the bullshit of working under a priest who thought he was my superior. He was not my superior. He was not my boss. But he treated me like he knew everything there was to know about education. No, you know everything there. Well, he didn't. Your domain is the church. My domain is the school. And I will work with you, but you are not my boss. And you are not telling me how to do things. So I was going through all of that with him. I was coming up on 30 years in education, and he was going to tell me. He wasn't the person who hired me. It was another priest who was just wonderful. And it wasn't the priest who hired me. It was the school. It was the school that hired me. I mean, parents were involved. Teachers were involved. The priest was involved. There was lots of people involved. But then at my regular church, the church that I attended, we had this priest it was during an election. The first tangerine runaround, and he literally said from the pulpit, if you don't vote red, you're not Catholic. For the red team, you're not a Catholic. And I was so pissed. And after church, I walked right up to him, and he knew who I was because it wasn't unusual for me to greet him and say hello. And I said, "You have violated the law this morning. You are not allowed to tell people who they can and cannot vote for. And the Catholic Church should lose their tax-exempt status because so many of you are doing that. And it is wrong." And I said, "Where is your compassion for people?" And that, I just was like, this church no longer has compassion for people. Where's your compassion for people who are gay and lesbian? None. Where is your compassion for people who lose babies or can't have a baby because of their health and have to have an abortion? Where is your compassion? You know, where are you feeding people? Because you're not feeding people. You know, it was a rich church in a rich town. We were not rich, but my husband grew up there, and it changed greatly over his lifetime. We no longer live in that community. Oh, I didn't know I was going to be talking about Catholics today. Today I'm wearing a shirt that says, "It's a great day to smash the patriarchy." It's not one of my merch, but I highly encourage you to get this one too. And I'm going into my weekly meeting where last week there was a lot of talk about how maybe we should bring back the Our Father at the end of our meeting. No. That's patriarchy. That's favoring Christianity. I don't know. I heard through the grapevine that there might be fireworks today. And you know, Spicy Laurie might have to get involved, or Spicy Laurie might have to get up and leave. Because my serenity is definitely being challenged in the last couple of weeks with this group. Well, not the whole group. Mostly one member. Okay. The sacrament of the present. We've had this before. Experience every moment as it is. So living in the present. We had this one. Ooh, I've got a little shadow there. We had this a few weeks ago, and I still believe this is true. That living in the present is so important. If you're living in the past, that's depression. If you're living in the future, that's anxiety. But if you try to live in this moment now, we went to Germany about, oh God, it's almost 10 years ago now, 8 years maybe. And we had this cute, she was adorable. Our tour director, she was from Hungary, but it was a tour of Germany. And she would say, in this moment now, we're driving into Berlin. Of course, she did it with her cute Hungarian accent. And so that phrase with me, in this moment now, has stuck with me. And my husband and I will often say, in this moment now, which is really a great reminder of that's your parameters in this moment right now. I love that she's looking up into the light and that she is surrounded by light. And I think the only way to find peace in this world is to live in the now. We can't worry about what's going to happen, because if we worry, things just get out of control. Let me just read the mantra for today, because I've read this one before, the whole text. But the mantra is, I'm releasing thoughts of yesterday and the fear of tomorrow. See that? Depression, anxiety. And fully experience every moment as it comes. When I live in the now, my life is better. When I'm not worried about what's going to come next, or how someone's going to react, or what's going to happen at this event. Yeah. Like even Sunday, driving to my event for the book signing, I just kept repeating to myself, I will be grateful for whoever shows up. I will be grateful. Because I had anxiety. What if nobody shows up? And I remember talking to the gal who did our music. She's a musician here in this area. And I said, do you ever have that? And she goes, every time. She goes, it doesn't matter if it's just like a small gig like this, like at a bar, or she's at a theater. Oh, I just hope people show up. I hope people show up. And I felt that way too. But that's not living in the moment. That's not being grateful for what I have right now. And I have so much to be grateful for right now. I've got 3 beautiful grandchildren. We have a wonderful son. I have great friends. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my belly. There's so many things to be grateful for. The sun is shining. The ice is out of the lakes. Though I love it when the ice is in the lakes. Yeah, it's beautiful. Let's bring in the calmness. And then release. I hope you're all having a blessed day. Peace, love, and jelly donuts.